Well, good morning, good afternoon, and a good evening to whoever it is in the world. You are streaming here on Twitter as well as YouTube. Across the interwebs, it is time for another edition of Live Q&A with Wob. Good news. It's actually working today. Would you look at that? Maybe it was just the timing of when we did the last stream, but the mobile devices are working today, and that is a pleasant surprise. What's happening, people? Busy day thus far in the association's injury report world. A lot of back-to-backs, 11 game slate, and that's part of the reason for doing these shows on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We've had a ridiculous amount of news drop. That's why it took me a couple of minutes to go live. News drop regarding who's in and who's out today. So we can go through that, answer your questions as always, say hello to everybody. Good to see some of the familiar names back in the chat. What's happening? We are back. So you just go from top to bottom on this. Let's see, I'm going to pull up the slate, today's slate. So Darius Garland's going to make his season debut. Joel Embiid out, Jared Allen in. Walker Kessler obviously out for the season. Tobias Harris out. Anthony Edwards in the big game at Madison Square Garden. Karl-Anthony Towns questionable. Who else? Jordan Poole just ruled out a couple of minutes ago. And that is, let's say hello to our friends at ProfitX really quickly before I head back to the chat. There we go. I will share the bets that I made today. I did just get these in. I think Saddiq Bey is headed for an over. I'll even add some here for you. How about a $10 wager? Saddiq Bey will be getting a lion's share of those Jordan Poole minutes, obviously with no Zion Williamson. So thank you for accepting my bet this time. Saddiq Bey, big off the bench yesterday. Second leg of a road back-to-back, which does scare me in taking some overs with any bad NBA team. But there will be plenty of usage to go around. What else is happening? Let's see. Denver, no. Austin Reeves is out for the Lakers tonight. The Thunder are missing Dort, Caruso, and Holmgren. 8-0 up in Portland. And this is always a hostile game because they get a bunch of Sonics fans that drive down from Seattle to boo the Thunder. And they're on the second leg of a road back-to-back. But the Thunder are just so good. Are you willing to bet against the Aaron Wigginses and Isaiah Joes of the world in the Jay Wills? Because all they do is run teams over just like the starters. But Portland is coming off an embarrassing loss at home to the hospital Lakers. So who knows? And then the Warriors-Kings game, my God, an infirmary, speaking of hospital teams. Steph out, Jimmy out, Levine out, Sabonis out. I think Dre is questionable. Oh, my God. Brutal game. That's usually a fun little geographical proximity rivalry, but not tonight. What's happening, people? Okay, I'm starting to see you pop up in the chat. There's a lot of CLV opportunities tonight. There was, honestly, but there were CLV doesn't hit the same. For those of you that don't know, CLV stands for closing line value. And the way that we are obviously treating these over-unders that I'm discussing on our friends at ProfitX, our partners here, CLV, when it's anticipated, doesn't really exist. So it's got to be a bombshell. Like Giannis Antetokounmpo just randomly being out is a big one. That game lost, by the way, because they beat the Warriors at home. Another big one recently was the Lakers not having Reeves or Luka in that back-to-back in Portland. That line jumps from practically 2 to 9, and they end up winning the game straight up because Nick Smith Jr., who is number 20, decides to go off. Those are CLV spots. A lot of this CLV is anticipated, so that the spreads haven't been on the board most of the day. And if they are, the lines are cooked already. So the Jordan Poole news being out, he's been horrendous. I mean, bad, both sides of the ball. I cannot imagine what it's like to root for a team with Jordan Poole on it. My God. He's eaten up a lot of usage. And he's out tonight. So I do anticipate Saddiq Bey, Trey Murphy, Jose Alvarado, Jeremiah Fears will be seeing a additional boost, and their number was already high with Zion out. Just some thoughts there. Jordan Poole got that first dub, and then it is out due to OnlyFans. Okay, fair. Chicago Bulls looking good. Chicago Bulls, what are you guys now? 7-1? Not bad. So I had a couple of Josh Giddey stats written down. First Bulls player since Michael Jordan in 1989 to record back-to-back triple-doubles. He joins Nikola Jokic as the only two players in the NBA this season with consecutive triple-doubles. Not bad. And Red Panda. Red Panda returned to Chicago. The vibes are immaculate. She didn't drop a single ball in her return from a wrist injury. Crazy. Twin in the Warriors versus Kings is sickos only. I would classify that game as sickos only because rivalry shouldn't be a sickos game, but though that game is going to be so boring, it's a sickos only for sure. And the Sacramento home games are not nearly as fun now that the beam is worn off and they're just not good. How mad do you think AD is going to be with me for tomorrow for today's show? Well, you heard him call it. The reason why you asked that question is you heard him call in today. I haven't spoken to him since, and I don't plan to because he's on the call in Dallas. So I imagine a couple of you watching this stream right now may have also heard the show this morning. But AD and I 2 days ago got into it, and maybe I'll gauge the chat for your answers. So whoever watched the show, don't spoil, or listen to the show, don't spoil. The other night, I'm going to ask the chat 2 questions. Feel free to respond however you want, and then I'll tell you what side of the fence the two of us were on. The Giannis Antetokounmpo game winner in Indiana. If you were the head coach of the Indiana Pacers, Rick Carlisle, would you sign up for Giannis taking that fadeaway from roughly, 16 to 17 feet away, contested and double-teamed? Or would you prefer to get the ball out of his hands at all costs and force someone like an AJ Green, a Ryan Rollins, a Kyle Kuzma, a Miles Turner to take the shot? Let's consider it to be somewhat, if not wide open. Which one would you prefer? I appreciate you. Bride of Christ says your daily chats with Antonio are entertaining as hell and they are educational. Today's was an education. He called in like one of our angry callers, daily callers. I'll give you a second to respond to that once I ask the question. Twin says, I side with you with AD. You don't want him taking that shot because he is a superstar, and I'd live with the last second shot from someone else. Now, I do agree with the concept of not allowing a star to beat you in the final moments of a game. If it's Kawhi, if it's Shea, if it's Kevin Durant, if it's LeBron, if it's Steph, if it's honestly anyone in the top 20, with the exception of Giannis, who is currently shooting 18% from 16 feet through the three-point arc. He is the one exception of a guy, if he's going to decide to launch a fadeaway from that distance with the game on the line, I am signing up for it. I don't care how good he is. One of, if not the best player in the world. That is a particular shot. But if you make it, we are willing to die from it. I can sleep knowing that he made a tough shot. I would not feel the same way about some of those other players. I also don't want Giannis getting to the rim because he can finish better than anybody else. So there's your answer. Let the Greek freak do a circus shot, says Zach. I agree. So Antonio, my partner on Give and Go from 10 to 1 on Sirius XM NBA every day, disagrees. Never let the opposing star beat you no matter what the circumstances, and he has a viable point. But I do not agree. I absolutely do not agree that Giannis should get the ball out of his hands at all costs. And then we started arguing about if he was double teamed by Isaiah Jackson or not. It was not only clear it was a double team, in my opinion. Rick Carlisle in the post-game press conference was talking about the design of the double team. And AD just very, very displeased with my presentation of the facts. So we continued to bicker about this. I think he was double teamed, and Antonio's that's helped defense. I can concede that it was a poor attempt at a double team, but a double team nonetheless. Anyway, we move on. Question about halftime performers. No, Red Panda is not the GOAT, contrary to many belief. First of all, because Red Panda drops balls. She's not flawless. You know who is flawless? A guy that can't afford to drop balls. The amazing Sladek. The amazing Sladek misses one of those chairs and he's dead. Every single time he performs, every single night, it seems like. The amazing Sladek builds the tower of chairs and then does a handstand at the top of them with Sandstorm going on in the background. He's my GOAT halftime performer. I admire Red Panda. I'm not saying she's not talented, but if you're asking me for the best of all time, it is the amazing Sladek. Only League Pass sickos would know about that. Yeah, crazy politics going on in New York City right now. I'm glad I don't live there, not because of the result, but fucking mayor politics, man, are crazy. We just dealt with some of that here in Los Angeles. The recent election between Caruso and Karen Bass was very close. Of course, everyone always makes their return. It's either you make your return against the Lakers or Madison Square Garden. Those are the two coliseums of basketball. And it's a nationally televised game. You knew he was coming back for this game. Someone in the chat said, AD like Anthony Davis. You don't know ball. I'm sorry. What else is on my card tonight? Mostly just a bunch of, I have essentially every Pelicans player over. I have Trey. I have Jeremiah, Sadiq, Jose Alvarado, and Trey overs, point totals. And then I have a couple assists. I have Trey Murphy's assists over as well. Derek Queen, by the way. Can you believe it? Finally, finally touches the floor. Finally gets some legitimate minutes. And look what the result is. Isn't that fancy? Those fans are thinking that the way this team is being managed, it's as if Major League is actually happening in real life. The baseball movie about tanking the team so they get relocated. Like, there was just no reason to not be playing him with the season where it's currently at. But he got some burn yesterday, and boy, did he look good. Julius Randle's got a little revenge narrative tonight in Madison Square Garden, too. You know he's going to want to really show out for those fans. It's funny that AD won't take a walk on the beach with me. That, too. He found that so ridiculous. I'm like, do you understand that's what people in California do that live on the beach? We go to the beach and we walk the boardwalk. This isn't a romantic sunset date with a picnic and roses, and we just go for a walk on the beach. It's beautiful out. Do you guys understand how nice it is here every day? There's a reason why people are willing to pay the tax that we do. It is ridiculous. Today is like 67, humidity's low, and it's so clear I could see all the way to Catalina. That's how clear it is. This is the only city within 2 hours you can go from skiing in snow to palm trees and sand. Doesn't be it. And then you just want to sit inside, don't want to go to the beach with your friend? It's a shame. You knew the answer to that question, Carly, before you asked it. You think this has changed? I haven't had a vegetable since 8th grade. I take my pills every night, though. I eat more vegetables per day because of those pills than most people that eat vegetables do. Is this your job, or do you have a side job you do? I mean, just like talk to you guys on Twitter? Yeah, just assume that's my job. Where'd I hoop at when I was living in West Hollywood? Pan Pacific Park, which is actually, by the way, for those of you in the Los Angeles metro area, has been renovated. They have rafters there. They have new courts. I was playing when there were cracks in the asphalt. I used to play at Venice Beach as well. Some of those rough games, but I have not touched a basketball in a couple years just due to fear of being injured again. I love how you press him. I'm not letting him off easy. He doesn't want to admit it, but he's as stubborn as I am. Two stubborn people. You ever met someone? We have official starters from the Sixers, by the way. Maxey, Edgecombe, Oubre, Walker, and Bona. Have you ever met someone that you have so much in common with, yet so different? Different backgrounds, different upbringings, different demographics. I have never met someone I have so much in common with, yet so different than AD. Those of you that don't know, I'm referencing Antonio Daniels. My buddy. But man, it's tough sometimes. And he would say the same about me. And I probably deserve it. He says, I can never admit when I'm wrong. I'll be the first to admit when I'm wrong. Good thing I'm never wrong, so I don't have to admit to it. From a culture perspective, asked Paul, would I ever want Ja Morant on my squad? Me personally, no, but I could see some fits. Minnesota with Randall and Finch. That feels like a place that he would fall into line as a soldier. Do not send that man to Sacramento. Oh my God. Things are already bad there. Do whatever he wants. Vivek would enable him. Oh my God. No. I don't know how this ends, but the collaboration between Tomas Isalo and Ja Morant needs to happen at some point. Because the perception right now is Ja Morant will never change. Well, he's not changing because Isalo is coming in with this system, which Ja Morant does not agree with. These 4.5 minute rotations with bursts, and then you go out, and then you come back in, you go out, and he's not down with it. He's the star player. He's the most popular person in the city, and he's not down with it. So something's going to have to bend here, willing to go beyond their comfort zone, because they're not going to win many games otherwise, and this is only going to get worse. Steven Adams ruled out. Jabari Smith Jr. into the lineup tonight. He thinks you never, right? Antonio never thinks that can say I'm wrong. That's just false. I say I'm wrong all the time. He goes, no, when you say you're wrong, you provide the additional context and explanation as to why you're wrong, but you're not completely wrong. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Right? And once again, if you're just joining the show, my co-host, when he travels with the Pelicans, because he obviously does the telecast, when he travel days, he's not on the show because he can't do a live radio show from like an airplane. And then we get a call in on our special hotline, not the 855 NBA jump number, but he calls in, put me on the air right now. All I have to do is light a match and throw it over my shoulder. Sometimes it's that easy. Boy, was he peeved. AD did go to Bowling Green. You guys understand AD was the 4th pick in the draft. That ends before he got drafted, he busted up his leg completely. Still got drafted 4th. You want to talk about bounce. Go watch an Antonio Daniels mixtape on YouTube. Jumping up to like the corner of the backboard on some of those alley-oops. Crazy hops. And then he played 13 years in the NBA, won a championship with the Spurs, did a lot of point guard roles. He ended up starting on that Wizards team with Gilbert Arenas that played the Cavs that now infamous night with Damon Jones making the corner three. Are any of you old enough to remember that night where LeBron went over and tapped Gilbert on the chest at the free throw line? But yes, I thoroughly enjoy our show because I need someone who can push back on me. You can't let me just run you over. That doesn't work as a show. And just the way that I'm wired, I'm attracted to the chase a little bit. That applies to dating life too. I can't just be I need a two-way street and someone that can keep up. Right? I'm not someone that's submissive or too aggressive. I need reciprocation. Yeah, Steven Adams out real quick. Does that affect any? Head back to Prophet X here. Does that affect any? What is with the weird little glitchy? You guys see that shit? Maybe it's just X. It occasionally is glitchy. Okay, Steven Adams out. Jabari in. I don't even think. Oh, they did list Jabari. So Jabari is, I would assume, is going to be on a minutes restriction. Did you guys just pop? Oh, I was about to say, did you just pop that because I was on the screen? Oh, we just got starting lineups. Amen Thompson, Okogie, Durant. Jabari will start. 13.5 is a big number for someone that's just coming back from injury. I'm probably going to pass on it, but this is a lean for sure, considering those minutes. Yeah, he's going to be taking a lot of those Josh Okogie looks. Maybe I'll just put, just for shits and giggles, I'll put $10 on it. For shits and giggles. Not a serious play, but he is officially back in the lineup. Okay. Where were we? Questions. Yeah. Should hire you, Twin Royal, to promote our show. In the first couple minutes, I'm just going to be like, what's happening? How are you? And when he's mad, he goes silent. If you ever hear Antonio go silent, he's probably mad at me about something. He just crosses his arms and he sits back from the microphone. Some people will scream, and no, when he gets mad, it's just, come on, say something. He does the, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. It's not that other, when you do radio shows, and this also applies to any of you who create content or podcasts or anything. I don't work with Amin more than in the fill-in role on Give and Go. So when you're working with someone new, it's a lot less combative because you're obviously not, you don't have the same rapport with that person on a daily cadence of doing 3-hour shows. I spend more time with Antonio than I do my own damn family, right? So at that point, you feel comfortable joking around and doing stuff. And I found it fascinating that hopefully some of you listened to my interview with David Fizdale yesterday, and he unsolicited brought up that his time in Memphis, the one thing he regrets is how he, when I say he treated Marc Gasol, that I don't want that to sound like he was terse with him, obtuse, but he was coaching him in a way that a prerequisite normally requires established relationships and rapport. And Marc was not nearly as receptive to his teaching at the time than what the potential was. And what's funny is Marc, once he went to Toronto and beyond, the instruction was, I need you to sit in the corner and shoot some threes for us to help space the floor. At the time, he wasn't hearing any of it from Fizdale. You haven't earned the right to tell me what to do or what us to do just yet. I assume I'm putting words in his mouth, but that was the perception at the time. And then he goes to Toronto and he instantly becomes like a corner three guy. So Fizz was saying, I would have coached him differently and been more open to meeting him in the middle on some things and turning this into a collaboration. And we bring that up because we come full circle on the Memphis Grizzlies and what's happening with Ja Morant and Isalo. So if we continue to see Ja Morant being taken out of these games after 4.5 and 5 minutes, that ain't going to make him happy. He did play the most amount of minutes the other night, and he played an amount of minutes which was sufficient for an NBA starter in this day and age, but just something to keep an eye on because I don't know if that it's a cold war going on between Isalo, his staff, and Ja Morant right now. Ask AD if he thinks Chris avoided being the Pelicans analyst if he was more than a role player. I don't. Maybe that's a typo or something. Lakers or Spurs tonight? Spurs. If he thinks he could. Who wins the thing? Am I ahead in my gambling strategy? I've been doing this since I was in 9th grade in high school. I can name the first game I ever bet on. How many people can do that? West Virginia versus Georgia in the Sugar Bowl back in 2005, 6, 7, around that time. First game I ever bet on, $20 on West Virginia, and I think they lost. Not sure, but I would just look up Sugar Bowl, West Virginia, Georgia. Was that a DJ Shockley team? It may have been. Right? When he's quiet. The thing about the one thing you can't do on radio, this is different from video podcasts, by the way. Those of you that watched Radio Roulette back in the day, there was a visual element, something like you're watching right now that you can engage with. Dead air is acceptable in the YouTube era because you're just watching someone read and it's accepted. Radio, there's no visual element. Dead air is a cardinal sin. So when he goes silent on me, I'm like, hello? You have like a second and a half to keep talking before like alerts start going off at the station that there might be something wrong with the technology. No silence allowed. Say your piece. Radio is a different beast, people. And it is the ultimate test of one's ability to be an expert on a topic, especially when I do the solo shows at night and you're talking to nobody. You better be able to not only carry a conversation, but make it entertaining and interesting. Tough. That is a tough job. Solo's tough. Having a partner, not so tough. Because chemistry makes up so much of the show. Yeah, we're the only show, unfortunately, that's not on NBA TV, but that's above my pay grade. Am I doing any post-game commentary in 86? No, they don't have me doing post-game stuff as of this moment. I've done it the last 2 years, but it's usually limited as well during the regular season, just for special occasions like opening week, Christmas Day, major trades like Luka Blockbuster or something. But I think they're adding some additional voices to the channel this year. So you won't. I was on this. You know how much I was doing last year? I was doing 3 hours from 10 to 1 on Give and Go. The pregame show before the playoff games, because obviously SiriusXM is the official radio partner, doing the pregame show for those. Then the postgame show, hour and a half, 3 hours, 6 hours. And I got to prepare. I can't just go into a solo show and just start talking. It takes time to like research and put my presentation, different block structure, and when I want to take calls and stuff. It is full-time gig, man. Old Hickory says, joining late, does Ja get traded? I will say, I mean, eventually this season, I'll say no, but I'm not happy about it. But they're going to keep losing games. They are not good. And Jaren Jackson Jr., who you always should have been building around. I've been saying that since the day he was drafted. 2005, 2006. Okay, that was the first game I ever bet on. $25 bet at the time was like colossal money. I lost that bet, and I remember, well, that means I can't eat. That means I'm going to skip because it was lunch money practically. I'm going to skip lunch. I'm going to make my own lunch instead of buying it at school the next day. I was trying to make up that $25. Crazy times, man. Did I have a recent elbow procedure like PRP 10x as well? I don't. What are you referencing? This is part of my hand. I don't know what you're. People will tell you this has been on my hand for the last 10 years. So there's a walkway from the Riverwalk to the new Spurs Arena. Interesting. OG being out of defensive player of the year doesn't surprise me. I don't think he's in my top 5 either. Karl-Anthony Towns is a go tonight. Wow. That was trending towards him being out. Officially in per Ian Begley. He's had a quad issue. Nationally televised game. If Ant's playing, I got to play. Julius Randle's going to be there making a mess of things. It's going to be a pretty good game tonight at the Garden. Good test. They need to make my analysis more accessible. I don't have Sirius XM, so never know where to hear you break down games. Good news, Old Hickories, they do have free trials available, so you can sign up for a free trial if you look hard enough. And then make sure you cancel if you can't afford it once it's complete. UGA fan here. Thanks for bringing up that Sugar Bowl, one of the first sports heartbreaks that I can remember at 8 years old. Sorry, man. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I lost $25 on it. If I'm not mistaken, Helwick, was that a Pat White quarterback team? It may have been right before Pat White, not Steve Slayton. I think that was 2009 West Virginia. Man, they had at one point, didn't they have a number 2 team in the country? The late 2000s. Was that Pat White? I feel like that Sugar Bowl may not have been Pat White. Oh, they don't have Sirius XM in the area, so you must be international outside the North America. That's unfortunate. Yeah. Well, VPN is the only thing I can recommend, like a North American VPN. But you got to be really desperate for WOB content. But you're missing a fun show for sure. Pat White was the first ever quarterback to win 4 straight bowl games. He was a beast. The original RPO guy. I want to say it was Pat White in that West Virginia. That was a Rodriguez team. I remember that Pitt game. Oh, yeah. Like yesterday. 2 games I remember. Pitt, West Virginia. I can tell you exactly. I was at a house party in Chapel Hill. I was at a house party and I remember always wanting, there's like, of course, a fun time going on. I was invited to some party. I just couldn't leave the television watching Pitt versus West Virginia. I remember that game like it's yesterday. And I remember Rutgers versus South Florida on a Thursday night. Number 2 South Florida got upset by Rutgers. And the whole world bet on South Florida. Myself included. They were short favorites against Rutgers, who was middle of the road. And there was just this one guy in the Wynn Sportsbook. Is this guy sitting in a red hoodie all by himself. Every time Rutgers got a first down, everyone would be pissed off because they all bet South Florida. He would just stand up and go, Rutgers football, face us. And then he would sit back down. And he had to do that 45 times. I don't even think he bet on the game. He was just rooting for Rutgers. Whoever you are, sir, I have not forgotten about you. What's up? All right. Oh, now we've now we've entered this portion of the show in the chat. Anthony Davis considered day to day per Coach Kidd. Am I on something else in the morning before Give and Go? Since you always ask if this is the first time you're hearing my voice today. Oh no. No, I say I do that intro. I do that intro because people will stream the show sometimes at night because they missed it live. You can listen to the whole show in the app, and sometimes it also replays later if there's no games on the channel, especially during like the off season. You'll hear Give and Go 3 times. Action. It is Maction season, isn't it? I prefer Sunbelt more than Maction. What else? Yeah, college football is so fun. What a great sport. My apathy for the NFL is I have never cared about something less than the NFL right now. My whole life, Peyton Manning is still to this day. I refuse to meet him because he is such my hero. NFL was my entire day was determined by how the Colts were doing. I can't tell you the last time I watched a game. But at college football, I'm strapped to the television, to the couch. Strapped. Any college football game on, I'm watching. Any. Even the bad ones are sometimes better than the good ones. What's for dinner tonight? I just got groceries, as a matter of fact. I have a rotisserie chicken. I love a good meal that I don't have to do anything other than warm up. And it's not frozen food. I'm trying to cut out as much the frozen food because I just don't have time to make anything. That's why my menu is rather limited. A lot of sandwiches, a lot of spaghetti with meat sauce, because all you got to do is defrost the meat. Spaghetti, the Rayo sauce you put in a pan. It's exactly 20 minutes from when I start cooking to when the meat sauce is complete. I also make ground turkey fajitas, almost exactly 20 minutes to cook the beef, the meat, the rice, prepare the tortillas, grill them up a little bit, make them taste good, throw them in, some sauce. But then sometimes it's like I skip dinner because there's 11 game slate going on, and I try and eat around 4:30, 5 o'clock because I only eat twice a day. And then it gets late, then I gotta eat frozen fish or something. Taquitos. Doesn't make you feel very good. So I'm trying to limit my you can't eat poorly if you don't eat at all. But I do eat those 2 meals, like breakfast, as much healthy cereal as I can eat. A lot of bran, whole wheat stuff, or oatmeal. And then dinner is a rotation of about 5 different things. I Mediterranean food too. I'll order a lot, but I try not to eat out as much. Any hope for Reed on the Rockets, or is it system simply not for him? He's just got so many guys in front of him. At some point, someone's going to get injured or load managed, and he'll be thrust into the rotation, but he better be ready for that when his number is called the same way that Nick Smith Jr. was the other night. Because that guy can hoop. That guy could put the ball through the bucket. He can absolutely hoop. Very worthy of being a number 3 pick, but his defense is, I think, part of the reason why Udoka isn't playing him. You just have to be such a savage defensively in Houston. Do what Peyton did and join the Broncos fandom. It's not even, I still follow the Colts. I know Daniel Jones is the quarterback. I know Jonathan Taylor is a running back. Only 2. I don't even know who the head coach is. There was a time I could name you the entire 2006 roster, including third stringers. The Robert Mathis, Dwight Freeney, Gary Brackett team, Bob Sanders, Kelvin Hayden, Marlon Jackson. Colts are going to the Super Bowl. Great radio guy, by the way. I can name the whole team. Entire offensive line from Jeff Saturday, Tarek Glenn, Meadows, Joseph Adai. Remember, God damn it, Donald Brown. Yeah, I know every single player on those teams. Every single player, but not anymore. Cato June was on that team. So our linebackers, Cato June, came out of Michigan. Gary Brackett out of Rutgers. And who was our Mike? Because Morris was gone at that point. It'll hit me in a second. Well, they had Robert Mathis as like a hybrid speed rusher. Is the Pelicans draft pick the most valuable traded pick of all time? Why? Because AJ? No, there's no guarantee the Hawks are going to get number one, even if the Pelicans finish with the worst record. We just saw the Utah Jazz fall to, what, fifth? The Pistons in the past fell to fifth when they were the worst record as well. Dallas Clark. You know who made a big catch? Brandon Fletcher for that 2006 Colts team against the Patriots. That AFC Championship game made me feel the same way that I did after Carolina beat Duke in the Final Four. I honestly didn't even care about the Super Bowl. When they came back to beat the Patriots, our biggest rival, it was like, man, I'm fucking set. Anything else is just dessert. Not for a second do I feel like unfulfilled that Carolina didn't finish against Kansas despite being up by double digits that year. They beat Duke in the Final Four with one of the best Duke teams ever as an 8 seed. The war ended right then and there, and I have not cared about a single game since. It is over. They are conquered. You are imperialized the Chapel Hill. What else is on your mind, chat? Got a couple of minutes left before we start tonight's action. I got to move over to the couch and prepare. It's a journey. I got to pick up all my devices, take my microphones in case there's a police chase. Got to start turning on televisions and tablets and putting on there's going to be 8 games on concurrently at some point tonight. Anything else I'm missing? Let's see. Left side of the screen. Oh, Nets Pacers. You got to be a sicko for that one. Sicko game of the night. Warriors Kings or Nets Pacers. Kawhi Leonard ruled out for the Clippers tomorrow, which is the only game on the slate, by the way. Woof. One game on the slate tomorrow. Give me a rough one. Cavs throwbacks. Oh, they're going with the do they have the trim too? The burgundy blue around the armpits. Hopefully they got that right. I know the ones you're talking about. Cleveland with the sword. Yeah, those are fire. How am I watching NBA games now? League Pass. I mean, there's obviously other ways to watch it. The TVapp.org. The TVapp.org is even clearer than my television sometimes. You watch any channel you want. Like for free. I don't understand why people complain about the YouTube TV. I'm like, you can get anything for free. Anything if you look hard enough. TV shows, I haven't paid for a single streaming service in my entire life. But if you do, wait. I used to recommend Sling. Sling is good. Sling is good. If you desperately need a service, use Sling. Shout out to Sling. I haven't worked with them in a minute. All right. All right, chat's going quiet. Shout out to Sling. Shout out to ProfitX. All of our partners who continue to fund these ventures. One of these days, I'll figure out something creative to do with one of these partners. My biggest career fear is I end up 50 years old just yapping into a microphone about nothing still. But for now, that's it'll suffice. What do I have to do for police chases? I need to do a rain dance. I need to go eat some meat sauce. I gotta load up the flight radar, start turning on the scanners to make sure I'm here when they happen. All right, friends. Good time to say goodbye. I'll be back on Friday, same time, same place, 3:15 p.m. Pacific time ish once I get back from the beach. Until then, it has been a pleasure. I will see you guys on the timeline. No thanks. No thanks to AD's willful silence. I'm I'm gonna use that tomorrow. If he goes silent on me, your willful silence is not appreciated today, sir. All right, friends. I'm out of here. See you later.